Hi everybody, Ross and My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. For YouTube channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. Obviously, we have videos going up daily, but sometimes, I'm in a good mood. Maybe, I don't know, West Ham are beating Chelsea or something like that. And so there'll be 2-3 times a day. So make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss any of the great interviews we've got coming up. Got some great guest lines up. We always do, including today's guest. You'd have known him. He's, the self-proclaimed face of sex, drugs, and control. That's his Twitter bio. It's Kevin Slade. How you doing, man?
I'm not bad, Ross. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. I've gone somewhere new today. If anyone watches the channel, I'm usually stuck in a bedroom, but I've tried something new. It's a bit echoey, but yeah, we'll see how it works today. Now, I'm very well. How's lockdown treated you?
Obviously, it's been difficult, but tomorrow is a new day, the 4th of July, where everything gets opened back up. Initially, I was looking forward to it, but I don't think I am now. I kind of got used to being in a lockdown and having a bit of peace and quiet. But yeah, it could be worse, I suppose, mate. It could be worse.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've got quite used to not. She's asleep anyway. I've got quite used to not having to do anything at the weekend. You feel like when the weekend comes, particularly I've got a small daughter, young daughter as well. You feel pressure to do something, but you can't go anywhere. But now you fucking can. So it's like, so I'm going to try and log out for a bit longer. But football's back. Brilliant.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'll be totally honest with you. I feel so dirty for saying this, but I didn't miss it.
No,
I didn't miss it.
No.
Until the build-up to the first game back.
Yeah.
Project Restart. And that's when I was kind of like, watched every game. And it's really weird, isn't it, watching it without the crowd there. Sounds like a training match, doesn't it? Really, really strange.
Really weird. I mean, I was probably like a lot of people. I toggled between main event and Premier League, just to try and get it. I think I do prefer the crowd noise. I mean, when I'm at West Ham at the moment, it is weird because obviously now I'm used to the crowd noise, and now I go to watch it at London Stadium, and it's like you can hear the journos. You can hear the journos typing, which is mental. But it's a bit weird, but it is what it is, and everyone wasn't looking forward to it, and then. One game plays well. We play well against Chelsea, and everyone's happy again now. It's incredible the effect that one result has on people's well-being in terms of West Ham.
They do it to us all the time, though, don't they, West Ham? And you just knew before the Chelsea game. I mean, it was either going to be Spurs or Chelsea. You just knew that we were going to nick a result from one of those two.
Yeah.
Just do it to us all the time.
And to be fair, the Spurs one, until the first goal came in, we weren't playing too bad as well. It's like we sort of like went in ourselves afterwards. But that Chelsea game, it was the only downside. Obviously, was there was no one there. It was
exactly.
It's one of those nights that people remember. Do you know what I mean? Certain matches, but no one was there, so it'd be weird. But
89th minute winner as well. I would have gone mental if I was there.
Yeah,
as well as the rest of the stadium. But such is life.
I did.
Got 3 points.
Don't worry, I did, Kev. I was there in my box.
All right, you don't have to rub it in. Russ.
It was me and then I was because obviously Mark wasn't playing, was he? So he was in sort of the I call it the protest area, where the fans congregated on when they had their little protest a couple of years ago against the Burnley game, and he was there and David Martin was there and I could see him, and obviously there was no cameras on them, but those two were. Like proper, if they could, they were almost like punching a hole in the wall when that goal came in, when Yama scored that goal. But no, it's amazing. Anyway, the idea is we talk about the memories, not the stuff that's happening now. Every other channel does that. We talk about stuff that's happened, which is good. In terms of you, Kev, the first question I ask all fans is why West Ham? Why is West Ham your club?
Pretty much like every other West Ham fan, really, mate. I didn't have a choice. I was born into it.
Yeah.
My nan and my granddad, both from the East End, both from Limehouse. Obviously, they had my dad, West Ham, born into it. Didn't have a choice. And obviously, as per usual, mate, it goes through the generations. So, English and a West Ham supporter. So, not had much joy with football.
It's quite funny. You interview some people, and literally, it's people who have been fans for a long time. and you asked them why they've been a West Ham fan, and it might have been, they were watching telly and it was on Match of the Day, and they went, "Oh, I'll pick that team." And it could have been anyone. It could have been Man City, Chelsea, but it was West Ham. And then they've still been West Ham fans, 50, 60 years on. It's really interesting to how it all works. But obviously when obviously you were, so I imagine you probably went to your first games quite early on. Your dad probably dragged you along.
Early 90s, yeah. Yeah, very early 90s.
Remember your first game?
I don't remember my very first game because my dad started taking me to testimonials and friendlies to kind of sort of ease me in, so to speak. But my very first competitive game was against Wolves, the game after Bobby Moore died.
Oh God! Wow.
So that was my very, very first sort of competitive league game at West Ham. We was in the old Division 2. This is obviously the year before the Premier League was formed.
Yes.
And we were battling for promotion under Billy Bonds, obviously. But that was like my first proper season going to West Ham. I think I was either 7 or 8 years old. But prior to that, as I said, I went to a couple of testimonials. My dad was just dipping his toe in the water with me to see how I would take to it. And I loved it. But I can't remember who the first one was against. I'll have to look that up, to be honest with you, mate. But my first competitive game, as I said, was against Wolves, the game after Bobby Moore died. So
wow. So you were a proper glory hunter, Kev, weren't you? Really? I mean,
Oh, proper glory hunter, mate.
Proper glory hunter. Just before they go up and stuff, and obviously,
right.
it was just been glory since. I mean, you had Inter-Tota Cup wins, you had playoff final.
Two
do you know what? It's just been. It's just been, it's a bit of a piss take, really. You come on board so early on.
Oh, dear.
They used obviously, obviously the Sex Rock and Carlton Cole stuff. You must have had lots of unique experiences and unique memories, which other people probably haven't had the opportunity of doing.
Yeah.
Any of them sort of stick out, like as sort of main ones? Because obviously, for most people, it's matches and stuff, but you've obviously done stuff a little different compared to other people.
I'd say the best memory is doing SD&CC. Obviously, a lot of people know myself and Dave from the West Ham way. Now the West Ham way, Dave Walker, we formed it together. And predominantly we were doing interviews. That's what it was known for, filmed interviews. You couldn't neither hear or see myself and Dave on camera. That was the sort of technique that we wanted to use, like a little bit different to what everyone else was doing at the time. And yeah, we got some great memories. We met some fantastic people, most of who we are still in touch with now. But I'll probably say that the one that really sticks out is when we interviewed Bobby Zamora. And that was at the QPR training ground. So a friend of mine, a really, really good friend of mine, he's a professional footballer. He played for QPR at the time. He's no longer there. So he kind of sorted it out for us. It took us a long time to get it over the line, but he kind of sorted it out for us. So there was myself, Dave, and the cameramen that we used. We've all gone to the QPR training ground dressed head to toe in Sex, Drugs and Carlton Cole West Ham gear. And they were still training when we turned up. So when we got to the gate, obviously security guards there, the QPR training ground security guard, and he's looked at us all and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I can't remember the chap's name now, but my friend at the time said, "I'll just say for argument's sake, Ian." So I said, "Oh, I'm here for Ian," or whatever his name was. So he's came out and he's looked at us in the car and gone, "What exactly are you doing here?" And we said, "Oh, we're interviewing Bobby Zamora." So he's radioed through to this bloke, he's called John, he's chatted to Harry or whatever. So anyway, my mate has had to come off the training pitch to say, no, they're here to be with Bobby. And there's a couple of little stories I don't think I can mention when we was walk past the changing rooms, and we did see a Premier League footballer naked, drying himself as we walked past the changing rooms. Charlie Austin was walking along on his phone down the hallway, and we've gone, "All right, Charlie," like that. He's looked at us and gone, "All right," and sort of a double take, like, "What the fuck are these like doing here in West Ham?" It was really, really funny. It was just such a surreal moment for the QPR players more than anyone. But yeah, I could go a little bit further, but I think I'll park that one there for now. So it was a good experience, that one. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, no. As you said, being a fan and doing that type of stuff. I mean, I was sort of doing it now. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you sort of interview these people. I've been very fortunate to do, and yourself, and it's weird. They're just like normal people. I don't know what I don't know what I'm meant to expect, really, but they just all seem normal.
Yeah, I mean, the very first one we done was Julian Dix.
Wow.
And that was at I think that was at Aveley FC. That's when I think they've built a new stadium now. But it's when they was at their old place. Like, it was a real, with all due respect to him, it was a real dump.
Yeah.
So we went there to do that in the clubhouse, and I was like a little kid. I mean, I was stuttering my words when I was reading out the questions. Like, I was breaking into sweats because he was my hero growing up.
Yeah.
Like, Julian was my absolute. I loved him. I used to shave my head in school to be like him. So, I mean, I absolutely loved Julian Dix. And we had him on the radio show a couple of times when I used to be on the West Ham Way radio show. And the more you talk to him, you're right, he's just a normal bloke. He really is just a normal bloke, really down to earth. And after a while, you're right, Ross, it's just normal, really. They say you should never meet your heroes, but I disagree with that, because Julian, lovely fella.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, definitely. And that sort of segues in nicely to talk about this sort of Hammers 11 idea. So the idea being, obviously, we get fans and ex-players and ex-coaches and ex-managers, whoever we get on, to do their sort of Hammers 11. So the idea being is, for the fans' perspective, it's people they've seen. So you have to be alive to have seen them play, not necessarily seen them play live, because, a lot of the American guys don't get a chance to come over. But
course.
you have to be alive. So obviously, you, myself and me, we couldn't put Bobby Moore in our team because we haven't seen Bobby Moore play, but we have seen
exactly, yeah,
Javier Margas.
I don't know about his haircut, but
he's a fair swap.
Yeah, his haircut was good. I don't know about his
yeah, exactly. We interviewed I interviewed a guy today, a guy called Anwar Udin, who used to play for West Ham. He was one of the 99 team, youth team, centre back guy, and he was Javier Margas's boot boy. And he was like, didn't have a fucking,
is that right?
Yeah, he didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. He had Ian Pearce and Javier Margas as they were the boot boy. He was boot boy to them too. And
gosh, a thing of the past now, isn't it? Boot boys.
It's funny.
You never get that now.
Never got a tip.
Yeah.
Never got a decent tip off them. Christmas tip or whatever. We interviewed Bertie Brayley once, and he said he was Di Canio's boot boy, which is like incredible. I think I would do that job. You know what I mean? It's like, and at Christmas he went, "Come here, Bertie," and he was thinking, "Oh, here we go, quids in." We're on like £30 a week or whatever. He gives me his pair of boots, and they're 3 sizes too small for me, and no shoelaces in them. He couldn't give me fucking shoelaces. That's Paolo. That's Paolo.
Yeah.
So anyway, this 11, as I said, we try and keep it to 4-4-2. But if you want to change the formations, it's cool, man. I'm not bothered now. I'm getting soft in my old age, I think. But it's your 11, so basically you can talk about whoever you want to talk about. So if you want to, they're technically the best players or your favourite players or whatever. We've had some really random 11s, but it's your 11, so it's an open brief, basically.
Yeah. Well, what I've done, I mean, I didn't want to state the obvious.
Yeah.
Of all the legends, all the best players that we've seen, the Tevezes and players like that. So what I've done, I've gone with a world 11 of West Ham players that I've seen play live. But I've tried to make it a bit difficult for myself by selecting just one player from the nationality they represent. So I'm only allowed one player. So it was difficult in the end. So there are a couple of random ones in there where people might scratch their head and think, why the fuck have you put him in there? But I will explain why I've put these players in there.
That's the way. Everyone has a reason. So that's good. Okay, sounds good. Love it. Okay, Kev, who is in goal for the Slade 11?
Right, so I've gone for the classic 4-4-2. And in goal is obviously, I had to go with Ludo. Yeah. £300,000 signed from Bannister, Lou Macari, fantastic signing. He gave us 6 solid years. He was there till 1998, 8 years, but he gave us 6 to 7 solid years for West Ham. And till this day, I don't think I've seen a better goalkeeper playing goal for West Ham. As consistent and as solid as Ludo. We've had players like David James, Rob Green, keepers like that, really, really good keepers at West Ham. But Ludo, 100%, absolutely solid between the sticks for us. So Ludo is my goalkeeper, my number 1.
Yeah, and Czech Republic as well. Well, I suppose you could do Russia as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want to take it back that far, but
yeah. All right, we'll put Ludo in. Okay, let's go left back then, Kev.
Right, so my left back. It wasn't a difficult decision for my left back, but it was a difficult decision because of the quality English players that we've had play for West Ham, and obviously I'm only allowed to choose one player from that nation. So I've obviously gone with Julian Dix.
Of course, yeah.
My absolute hero as a kid growing up. You know, for me, Julian, he really, he is the epitome of what West Ham United is for me.
Yep.
You know, heart, guts, you know, determination, effort. He really understood the fan base, and we love him too. You know, he was our penalty king, fantastic captain for West Ham. And, you know, his career was cut really short at, 29, 30 years old? Such a shame. So much more to offer as well at the peak of his career. So I've gone with Dixie because, you know, I love him and he's an absolute West Ham legend.
Yeah, exactly.
So my centre-backs. So my first one, this might surprise a few people. The reason why I've gone with this centre-back is because I'm basing this one purely on what could have been and what a talent he was.
Javier Margas.
Right. No, it wasn't Javier Margas. Right, so this player is Finnish.
Oh,
he never actually played for us permanently.
Brilliant.
We had him on loan from a team called Viking FK in Stavanger, Finland.
Yeah. And
this man goes by the name of Hannu Tiernen. I think he only played about 10 or 11 games for us. But I tell you what, at the time, when he played for us, again, he was only on loan. But fucking hell, I was so impressed with him. He was such a good player. And even till this day, I don't understand why Harry never signed him on a permanent. Why he didn't pay the money. I mean, obviously, it was a long time ago now. We didn't have the ITKs in the internet, you know, to find out all these little stories or whatever. But Hannu Tiernen, fucking what a player he was. Like, really, 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 truly a great centre-back.
He was.
So I've gone with Hannu.
I wonder if... Didn't they spend the money on somewhere...
I think it was Rigobert Song. No, it was Rigobert. They signed 3 players. It was Rigobert Song,
Titi Kamara,
and I think the other one might have been Daly.
It was a lot of money.
I think I've got that right. Yeah, they wanted a lot of money for him, but I remember Redknapp doing the classic Harry. He signed 3 for the price of 1.
3 for the price of 1,
and I didn't rate any of them.
Titi Kamara, God bless him.
Yeah, but I've gone with Hannu, so he's the first centre back. The second centre back. No stranger to West Ham fans. He was obviously our manager for the last season at the Bowling as well. I've gone with Slav, Croatia. 1.3 million from Hajduk Split. Again, fantastic Harry signing. Very short time with West Ham, 18 months. But again, fantastic centre back, very reliable. Very silky as well, Slav. I think he had it all. He had everything in his locker as a centre back, yeah. So I've gone with Slav as a centre back. And obviously... you know, my heart still lays with him because of his managerial stint with us as well. So those are my 2 centre-backs. I've gone with Hannu and Slav.
Fucking strong spirit centre-backs. Jesus Christ.
Right, so my right-back. Yeah. Again, this might surprise a few people. Signed for 6 million from Blackburn Rovers in 2006-07. That's Lucas Neal.
Yeah.
And the reason why I've gone with Lucas Neal is because... he was such an important signing at the time when we were on our knees. I mean, we were staring relegation in the face. You know, we just lost 6-0 to Reading away, which must I say was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a West Ham side. It was absolutely diabolical. And, you know, Kirby signed Lucas and he really galvanised the lads.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of players from that era that we've spoken to doing what we do, they all say Lucas Neal, you know, without him, we would have gone down.
Had it with Anton the other day. Talks a great story of Lucas Neal, where literally Lucas Neal, they were at the ground, and basically he said, right, we have a team meeting, brought them all in, Mervyn Day and Curbs try and get in, and Neil went, nah, fuck off, it's just team. And he basically said, look, if you don't want to play for us, fuck off and get out. You know, that's basically what he said. But obviously, in an Australian accent, it would have been even more threatening. You know what I mean? He was. Do you know what? There's some great stories in Anton one about Lucas Neal and stuff I didn't really think about. You know,
he also turned down Liverpool for us as well.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, come on. Whether it was the money or what, I don't know. But
he did get well paid. Didn't he?
He turned down Liverpool,
yeah. But little things like he before he was in charge, he was captain. When he came in, he made everyone, if they won a game, he would go around and get a percentage of the players' win bonus. He would collect it and give it to the ground staff and the cleaners and the kitmen.
Exactly. I mean, ability-wise, Lucas wasn't the best. He wasn't the best, but as a character, as a captain, and the sheer importance at the time when we were on our knees, and once again, you know, probably in our lifetime, Russ, probably for the 10th time, we've been staring relegation in the face. He really was an instrumental figure in that dressing room for West Ham. So that's the main reason why I've chosen Lucas.
Yeah, no, agree.
So, he's my right back.
And that is a tough back four.
It is a tough back four. Right, so I've obviously got a 4-man midfield.
Yep.
So in the centre, I'm going to start with, again, this might surprise a few people, I've gone with Stevie Lomas, Northern Ireland, 2.5 million.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Signed from Man City, once again by Harry.
Yeah.
We signed Lomi in 96, 97. Once again, same old story, staring relegation in the face. Round about the same sort of time, we signed John Hartson and Paul Kitson. But again, I don't think Lomi gets enough credit for that season, because he was signed by Harry to come in and stiffen up that midfield. And once again, he was a captain for us as well for many years, Steve Lomas. And I think he was a very underrated captain. I mean, I thought he was a very good captain for West Ham. And, you know, he was that bite that we needed in midfield at the time in that 96-97 season. So I've gone with Stevie in the middle. My second player to play in the middle, I mean, you could put him behind the front too, but we put him in the middle because we've gone for a classic 4-4-2, is the little Israeli, 1.7 million from Maccabi Haifa, Ayel Berkovic.
Yeah.
Mate, what can I say about Ayel? I still think we haven't replaced him, believe it or not.
Good shout.
20 odd years ago. I mean, you could have the argument of Yossi Benayoun, but for those that are old enough to remember Ayel and Yossi, I thought Berkovic was strides ahead of Yossi.
Yeah.
I really did. Absolutely different class. And once again, you know, I still don't think we've replaced him 20 years on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
fantastic.
It was a
magician.
you're right. Yeah. It was a toss-up between Yoshi Benayoun for that sort of Israeli spot, Berkovic and Yanniv Kaitan as well.
Yeah. It was a Pardew. That's a Pardew signing, wasn't it? You nearly got me there. That was the Pardew boy, wasn't it?
Kaitan,
you nearly got me there, Russ.
I know. It looks really serious. No, but yeah, Berkovic was great. And obviously we interviewed Johnny Hartson, and he couldn't speak highly of him in terms of what he... I mean, it was no coincidence. The season we signed, obviously we signed Berkovic in the summer. That following season, Hartson was second top goal scorer in the Premier League. And...
Do you know what? I'm surprised that he never went on to a bigger club. I mean, don't get me wrong. Celtic are a huge club in Scotland, but I'm surprised that he didn't go on to a bigger, Premiership club. I'm glad that he didn't. But what a player he was! Fantastic player, Ayel.
Yeah, brilliant.
So that leaves me with the right and left in midfield. Now again, once again, this is probably going to surprise a few people, but I thought I'd try and be as different as possible. Little Portuguese midfielder, signed on loan from Sporting Lisbon. Classic Redknapp signing. Yeah. He goes by the name of Hugo Porfirio.
First time he's appeared.
First time, is that right?
Yeah, we've had Darnie, but we haven't had Hugo Porfirio.
Is that right?
Yeah. There we go. In you get, mate.
So I've gone for Hugo because again at the time, he was really the only player that we had that offered a bit of flair, a bit of excitement in that West Ham side.
Yeah.
And as a 12, 13-year-old boy, when I was like really, really getting into football, Hugo come along, and again I always wanted to be in Wembley when we used to go over the park. What a fantastic little player he was, and he was another player that got away that Harry didn't want to sign, which I couldn't understand at the time.
Yeah.
So, but what a really exciting little player he was, Hugo. He scored that fantastic goal against Wrexham as well in the FA Cup.
Yeah. But he famously hadn't seen the snow before, has he? That was the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was like Bambi on ice, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Running out there. But,
good shout.
So I've gone for Hugo.
Yeah, nice.
On the left.
Yeah.
On the left is an obvious one. He broke our hearts back in 2016 when he forced through a move to Marseille. and that is Dimmy Payet. I don't really need to say much on Dimmy.
No.
He is probably by far the best player that I've probably seen at West Ham, bar one, who's also in this team.
Yeah, no, I think to be honest, I know who will be in this team, but I think technically he was the best I've seen. Technically, he's not the best player. I think the person's best player is, I think, is probably coming up, but technically he was the best. And I think to be a player, you need different attributes. You don't just have to be technical.
I think with Dimmy as well is the average players that we had at the club. He brought the best out of them as well.
Yeah.
And obviously in that final season, you know, I mean, you could go with it was a spirit of the bowling, and obviously it was Nobes' first season as captain. But that was a magical season. That was the last season at the bowling. And obviously he had a massive part to play in that. So, you know, as much as I hated him for what he'd done when he forced for a move and left and basically left us in the shit, I can't not have him in this team.
No.
So I've gone with Dimmy. So that's my midfield.
But you're right, but you know, people forget how he came to us. He came to us doing pretty much the same thing, and those mercenary players, the Payets, Arnautovic's, you know, you have to know they're going to throw their toys out, because that's the type of player there is.
I think he'd done it at every club he was at. I think he'd done it. He'd done it at Lille. He'd done it at Saint Etienne. So we knew what we were getting at the end of the day, but obviously as West Ham supporters, you know, we get a player like that, we're just blinded by, you know, by their talent, aren't we? So but that's my midfield anyway, Russ.
And we give him a song and everything like that, and then he just throws in our face. All right, there we go. Okay, who's up front then?
Right, so up top, I'll start with the big man we signed from Arsenal for $5 million. In January 1997, Welsh international, big Johnny Hartson.
Yeah.
I've gone with Johnny Hartson because he is a piece of the jigsaw with Berkovic as well. So that's why I've gone with Johnny Hartson. Without Berkovic, he wouldn't have scored those goals, in my opinion. But, you know, Johnny Hartson, we haven't had a player that has scored that many goals since him.
No.
And that season, he played a very, very, very big part in our survival, you know, with Paul Kitson. And the season on from there, we really, really pushed on as a top half club. I think we finished 7th that season. And the season after that was obviously 5th. But John Hartson, he was another player, you know, fantastic memories of me when I was a schoolboy. You know, I used to go to school and, you know, it was the bragging rights over the Man United fans and the Arsenal fans. He scored more than Bergkamp. You know, he's got more than Andy Cole, and inevitably Andy Cole did score more than him. But again, very exciting times to be a West Ham supporter when Johnny Hartson was in that side. Brilliant time to be a West Ham fan. That is by far my favourite era, the 90s.
It was a soap opera, wasn't it, really? It was a soap opera.
Oh, it was amazing.
Who's this Marco Buga's guy? Who's it? We've got these young kids coming through. Paolo Futre, you know, it was a mental time, that Harry era. It really was. It
was a great time to be a West Ham supporter.
Definitely.
So I've gone with big Johnny Hartson as the first one up top. And the second one, I think everyone can guess this by now. 1.5 million from Sheffield Wednesday. Massive gamble from Harry.
Diego Tristan.
Paolo.
I thought you haven't got a Spaniard, so I thought that was what you're doing. But I
thought he was going to say Paolo Alves. Then do you remember him?
Oh, Paolo Alves.
Do you remember him?
Paolo Alves.
Signed him on loan from Sporting Lisbon. Harry signed him on loan from Sporting Lisbon.
It was
great big lanky bloke.
Fucking bloody hell,
a fucking barn door, that one.
Yeah, it was him. There was. Do you remember that spate? Didn't we? We had after that we had Diego Tristan. We had Ilian, Guillermo Franco,
Mido.
Yeah, Mido, Guillermo Franco. David Di Michele.
He wasn't a bad player, Di Michele.
But it's just just comes out. Right. Yeah, he was all right. He was all right, because that was when we had the patch shirt. You know, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, back to Paolo.
Yeah, so obviously I've gone with Paolo, the man who replaced Johnny Hartson. When he was sold to Wimbledon, and I got to admit, at the time, I'll never forget it, because back then you only had the teletext and the newspaper to read. You know, you never had the ITKs and the internet and all this stuff. And I'll never forget it when I see it on the back of the paper. I thought, I thought, what the fuck has he, like, this is Harry. I thought,
Yeah.
what has he done? Like, why have we signed him? Like, what the fuck? Because obviously, you know, we've let John Hartson go for 7 million, which was a lot of money back then to Wimbledon. And although he wasn't really on form for, you know, his final half of that season, I thought, what the fuck have we gone and signed this lunatic for? But I tell you what, mate, fucking hell, am I glad that Harry Redknapp signed that fucking lunatic. So what a player Paolo was, you know. There's not much I can't say about him, to be honest. So, yeah, Paolo said absolutely incredible, mate. So that's my 11. That is my 11.
Love it. A couple of new names as well to add to the hat. I think we've had about
I thought I'd be a bit different. So,
yeah, you know. I think we've had about 150 odd different players over the sort of the various interviews, and that's the great thing, because like people have different opinions on different players. They have different perceptions of people and different players, and obviously the players have different perceptions of their, you know. So like, you know, we were talking about Peter Butler before we came on, you know, and Peter Butler, and no one's put him in their team apart from the people who he played with. Because he obviously did a lot of work for them. Same with like Hayden Mullins as well. I mean, you know, he's only just started. He hasn't appeared in any of like our first 90 odd, and I think Chadwick put him in his one, and then the next one's like people go, oh yeah, Hayden Mullins. You know, sort of triggers up new things. And
do you know what? I don't really want to call him a water carrier, but every team needs one.
They do.
You know, obviously Hayden Mullins in that era, Peter Butler in the early 90s era. I mean, I thought he was a great player, Peter Butler. I really did. He was a workhorse. Same with Aiden. So every team needs a player like that.
They do, and I've always got Peter Butler has a special place in my heart, because he was the first player I met. Because I mean, you must have gone to them. They used to be the Junior Hammer birthday parties at the old ground. When a player would
get the shitty McDonald's tickets, didn't you?
But but I remember them. But you'd have like the McDonald's. You had like, you know, and it'd be in the little school, the little assembly hall next to the ground, and a player would turn up, like a first team player, and it was Peter Butler. And it was like, I couldn't imagine that nowadays, you know, like, oh, here we go, here's Sebastian Haller.
Like 45 million.
On his photo. It just don't work anymore now. But I love it. Nice team, Kev. Thanks, mate. It was really, really good. Appreciate the effort that's gone into that. And obviously, thanks for your time. And obviously, thanks everyone for watching. You know what to do. Share, like, subscribe, all the type of stuff you do. Again, very humbled by all the messages and the comments, and it's mental that, you know, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and we've only been going for 6 weeks. It's just shows the West Ham family, West Ham community. And until next time, everybody, from me and Kevin, stay safe, take care. We'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See ya.
Come on, you irons.